Hello, people. It's Saturday, the 19th of November, heading into next week and Thanksgiving and all that here in America. A quick one. I want to just let you know that a couple good things have happened for me personally. Always wanting to share good things. Recently, about a month ago, I had a little 30-second segment called Old Music Friday included in an Adult Swim streaming internet show called Stupid Morning Bullshit. My good friends down in Atlanta, Georgia, Dave Matesiak and Mason Brown are involved in the production of that show. And they had asked me, would I just do this, little spot for them? And I said, well, sure, So I did a little spot and I featured the album Dreams, saying this is an old album that you young people ought to know about. Well, that was fun, and I waited to see if they'd ask for more, and sure enough, they asked me if I would be willing to do more, and I responded, well, if it's worth your asking me to do it, is it worth you paying me for it? And he said, well, let me go find out. Let me talk to my bosses. And sure enough, they agreed to buy 4 segments, 60-second segments of this Old Music Friday segment for their show every Friday on Adult Swim. So I'll leave the link. Excuse me. It's only a minute that I'm in the program featuring a record, but it's a good thing for me because, again, they wanted my involvement and they were willing to pay for it. And it showed yesterday, every Friday at 10, streaming on the internet, Stupid Morning Bullshit. Every Friday, at least for the next 4 Fridays, there will be a segment that features me taped here in this room, showing a record and talking about it for a minute. That was a good development, because that's money. That's money. And another good development was that recently I do collage art, and some of the records that I put out feature some of my collage artwork. And the Bemis had a benefit art auction recently. They asked me if I would put something in the auction. I agreed to do it and split the money. The auction was in October, and I didn't hear anything, so I kind of assumed that my piece didn't sell, but it turns out that it did. So I just got the money for that, and that's a good thing. So I've been hesitant to pursue the visual art aspect. It's a whole nother world, a whole nother endeavor to try to get involved in. But every time I make a sale, it's encouraging. So I just want to share that. I haven't watched too many videos this week. I have been watching old Twilight Zones because right now living in America is definitely like living in the Twilight Zone. It's just really weird. Everyone you talk to is weirded out by this chump that got in. Not enough people voted, and then a lot of people got hoodwinked, got fooled. We're going to find out. We're already finding out by the people he's appointing to his to surround himself with, just some of the most reprehensible people who just divide. They're not cool people. I wouldn't even want these people in my house. Like I say, you don't make a president by being friendly, but a person that you couldn't even imagine being your friend, being the president, that makes me stop and pause. Some music that I've played recently. I've gotten a lot of stuff over the years through the people in the vinyl community that I've listened to, and then I put it aside, and then I come back to. And here's one of them. I got a package many years ago, I think it was in 2011 or 12, from the Lumberton Trading Company label. One of the CDs they sent me was by this guy named Hannes Brown. And the CD is called Severe Insomnia. I finally made it all the way through this. It's kind of experimental. He uses string sections. Then in other songs, it's synthesizers. Other songs or other pieces, it's objects he's using. But overall, this really doesn't hang together that well for my taste. It's kind of like he has a couple of ideas that don't quite gel, and it's all over the place. I mean, the use of a string quartet or whatever it is impressive, but the piece itself meanders. And there's a couple things that are static, kind of like Philip Glass or Steve Reich, where there's a lot of repetition, but it doesn't resolve or go anywhere. So I listen to this. Didn't get all the way through this. I put it on last night to play, but then I got distracted. Started watching a Twilight Zone segment. But Todd Rundgren's Utopia, fusion, jazz, rock. Todd Rundgren's done it all. This is a really good album. One of my least favorite King Crimson albums, but I played it all the way through and enjoyed it. Beat. This particular era of the King Crimson book of music is my least favorite, but it's still some good playing. I love folk music. I love folk rock. I love the Irish, the English, the Scottish. I know I have Irish blood in me besides Native American and African blood. So I really do respond to some of that music really from here. Trees on the Shore is an old English folk rock album that originals of this are very collectible. It's a Hypnosis cover, the folks that did Pink Floyd covers. This is one of their iconic covers. But it's a great English rock album. This is a reissue. Like I said, originals of this are still very pricey. I love that image, though. Steel Eye Span Fairport Convention, it's in that area of folk rock. This is a real good album. I have to be in the mood, but I was in the mood, and so I played The Future Now by Peter Hamill, and this is excellent. The music as well, I mean, his words are really important, and this album is on point. I want the future now. Well, we have the future now compared to what he was talking about. We have it now. I don't think it was quite what he was wanting. But musically, this is really strong, really good, as well as lyrically. Peter Hamill. Genius, in my opinion. Genius. Here's an album. The last time I played it, I didn't like it. Yesterday I played it, and it's like, man, this doesn't sound like what I played last time I did. Red Temple Spirits. Honestly, they don't sound like The Cure, but that's what it kept making me. It reminded me of the feeling of some early Cure's music. Red Temple Spirits. Dancing to Restored and Eclipsed Moon. Much better than I remembered it. I like this. Classic jazz. Fantastic album. And it's a collector's item. I have an original. Don Cherry is one of my favorite jazz musicians, period. And Complete Communion is an amazing album. I think this came out in 1966. I bought this years ago in the 70s from a private collector. This is a mono, first pressing New York with the Rudy Van Gelder and the Dead Wax. Some collectors are really into that stuff. This is just a really clean copy and a fantastic album. Wonderful jazz, great compositions. Ed Blackwell, his drumming with Don Cherry is just the best. Check this out. Another one I've shown several times, but it is just a fantastic album. Brigitte Fontaine with Areski and Art Ensemble of Chicago, Come a la Radio. A la Radio. This still sounds modern to me. This was made back in like 1970. like some of Can's music that still sounds like it was just made. Most of this album sounds like they could have recorded it today. This is badass. Another favorite album of mine of all time, Roxy Music, For Your Pleasure, with Amanda Lear on the cover here. Needed to hear the title track a couple days ago, For Your Pleasure. Spooky, wonderful. Love this album. Another all-time favorite album, all-time. I still have my original copy that I bought when I was in high school. I'll show it. Third by Soft Machine. This is, if somebody wanted to say, what do you think is one of the greatest albums ever made? This is it. This is one of them. Soft Machine's third album, double album, one song per side. Really blew my mind. Here's my original copy I bought in 1971, maybe. Turned so many people onto this band with this album. Soft Machine third. Excellence, pure excellence. Three more and then I'm out of here. Solar Plexus, a Latin feeling type of band. I don't know much about these guys, but this was enjoyable. Not great, but enjoyable. Here's one that was sent to me by the label Optimal Music back in 2014. Felizol and the Boy. Like Cannibal Father, like Cannibal Son. This is like some kind of like down-tempo, like electronic mixed with classical influences. There's a couple tracks on here that I don't understand what they're trying to do. I don't get it. And then the majority of the album is really good. They don't sound like Portishead or DJ Shadow, but those artists come to mind as possible references for this album. Actually, I recommend this. There's just a couple of vocal tracks on here that I think are just so-so. Most of this album is really good. The last thing I'll show is French electronic music that predates Daft Punk, including the head, the helmets and everything, space art. They were doing it back in the 70s, so Daft Punk is nothing new. And this is kind of kitschy cool. It's like the cover is great and the music is almost disco, almost. It's better than that. Electronic and good. So once again, I'm thankful for the development of having a segment on an Adult Swim internet show. I'll take more developments like that. Oh, one other thing I'll be happy to share is another band that I'm in is getting back together in Dreama. We generally play about one show a year. The band is still going. This is our album that I put out on my label in conjunction with Connor Oberst's label, Team Love. But In Dreama is playing next week. I'm excited about that. And this is a good album. If you don't have it or haven't heard it, check it out, In Dreama. Okay, people, that's about it for me today. Talk to you soon.